It is Thursday afternoon, September the 23rd or September 23, 2021. It is English time. Guess what pupils book and activity book? Where do people live?
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, September the 23rd still, and afternoon class today will be English. It was supposed to be this morning, but I made a little mistake, so we did math in the morning, or science in the morning, and we do English now. Okay, later we will need our guess what books, both of them, so you can get those ready. But we will start with our vocabulary words. Okay, so the lesson today will be about where do people live. So the vocabulary also has to do with that. So there's 3 vocabulary words here. Number 1, V-I-L-L-A-G-E, village. Number 2, T-O-W-N, town, and number 3, C-I-T-Y, city. Now, what do these words have in common? Village, town, city. Okay, so in Thailand, many times you find a village inside a city. For example, in Chonburi there is some communities and they call that a village. In Europe, a village is not like that. A village is like a very small town or very small city outside of the city. So you have to leave the city and drive for a while, and then the next little village, that's what we call village in Europe. You will see that later in your book. So what is the thing here with these 3? Village, town, city. They are written from small to big. So in Europe, a village is small, a town is a little bit bigger, and a city is big. Okay? So for example, the village has 50 houses, and the town has 2,000 houses, and the city has 100,000 houses. So the village is small, the town is a little bit bigger, and the city is the biggest of the 3. Okay? So that's how we use it in Europe. In Thailand it's a bit different, but kind of the same. So one more time. Number 1, village. V-I-L-L-A-G-E. A village. Number 2, town. T-O-W-N. Town. And number 3, city. C-I-T-Y. Okay, let's have a look at 3 more words that have to do with where people live. Okay, 3 more words. Number 4, a long word. C-O-U-N-T-R-Y-S-I-D-E. Countryside. Countryside. So, if you live in the countryside, it means you live outside of the city or outside of the town. So in Europe, in England, and also in Holland, in my country, the villages are in the countryside. So if you go outside, you don't see high buildings or many cars. No, you see green land and cows and farmland. So that is the countryside. It's outside on the farm. But we will look at that later in the book. You will see some examples. Then number 5, that's 2 words. P-U-B-L-I-C T-R-A-N-S-P-O-R-T. Public transport. Public transport. What is public transport? Public transport, you usually see a lot of those in the city and in the towns, and a little bit less in the villages. So public means for everybody. So for example, in Chonburi, what is our public transport? The songtaos are public transport. Everybody can get on the songtao. Right? We have yellow ones, red ones, blue ones, white ones. So those are public transport. Also, a bus is public transport. A train is also public transport. Even airplanes are public transport. So public transport, it means that everybody can buy a ticket and get on that kind of transport. But for the cities, it's mostly the songtao or the bus or the taxi. Those are the public transports in the city. Okay, number 6, A-R-E-A. A-R-E-A. Area. Area. So an area inside a city, for example, we live in Chonburi, right? But we live in different areas of Chonburi. So the area I live in is Samet, but our school, for example, is in the Napa area. So area means a certain place inside a town or a city. That's what we call an area. Okay, so one more time, number 4, countryside. Outside the city, where you can see the mountains and the fields and the cows and the farms, that's the countryside. Public transport. Transport that everybody can use, like the songtao, the bus, the train. Number 6, area. Area is a place inside a city or a town. For example, the Napa area that our school is in. Okay, good. Let's have a look at our guess what books. Okay, please go to page 66 of your pupil's book. Page 66, pupil's book. You see there a picture of a city. This one right here. Okay. So, I know where this is because this book is from England and this is a picture of the city of London. So this is London. Before I thought it was New York, but it's not, it is London. So this is a good example of what a city looks like. Now there are tall buildings everywhere, there's many people on the street, these are offices probably, and there's probably many shops there and a cinema. So this is a good picture of a city. This is what we describe as a city, right? So, but there are other areas that you can live. For me, before when I was younger, I loved to live in the city. But now, I really want to live in the countryside. How about you? I know when most children, if I ask, they want to live in the city. And I know why, because there's many things there, like shopping malls and stores, so it's very convenient. But for me now, I would like to live in the countryside, nice and quiet. Okay, let's have a look at the 4, on page number 67, 4 different places to live. Okay, I put the picture also in the video so you can see. So here, number 1, that is a good example of what the countryside looks like. You see, there is all fields and kind of hills and trees and grass. That is the countryside. This is the countryside in England. So this is a typical English countryside. They look like that, very green and also hilly. Not mountains in England, but hills. So a hill is like a not so tall mountain. So this is countryside. Would you like to live there? I would. Okay, let's have a look at the next one. So the next one is the village. Now you see, this is a village also in England on the riverside, and this is a typical village. You see, there are a couple of houses and there's a little church, but not that many houses, maybe 20 or 30 houses and a church. There's probably one shop or maybe 2, and that's it. So in England, this is what a village looks like. It's outside the city, a little community on its own. So that's a typical village in England, but also in my country, villages look like this. Okay, let's look at the next one. Okay, the next one, number 3, is a town. Now you see, the village is small, the town is bigger, but not as big as number 4, the city. But here is a picture of a town. This is a town in England. You see there are some old buildings and some tall buildings, but not really big tall buildings. But in the next picture you will see them, because that will be a picture of the city of London. And this is the biggest of them all, the city. So we go from countryside to village to town to city. Now here you see the picture of the city of London. Tall buildings, kind of like Bangkok. Very tall buildings, many people, many offices, many shopping malls. So that's a typical city. Okay, so remember the countryside, village, town and city. Okay, let's get our activity book. Okay, let's go to our activity book, and then we go to page number 54, and that is this page right here. Now we will do this page together. So let's start. Number 1. You see there at the top of the page there are 1, 2, 3, 4 words, but they're all mixed up. We have to write them here, but in the correct order. So the first one is already given, that is town. So let me write them here. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Number 4 we know already, that is town. So that one's already finished. So let's look at number 1. Remember number 1? What does it look like? There are no buildings. We only see hills and green fields. So that is the countryside. So that one, but it's all mixed up. How to spell countryside? C-O-U-N-T-R-Y-S-I-D-E. Countryside. So you write countryside over there. Then we look at number 2. Remember the tall buildings, many people, many offices. The biggest one we call a city, right? So write city there. C, so that's number 2. City. And then we have one left. Look at the letters. L-L-I-V-G-E-A. What is that word? Right, village. So number 3 is village. Village. Okay, so remember now, countryside. Then we have the village. Then we have the town. And the biggest one is the city. Okay, so write the words countryside, city, village. Stop the video, and when you finish, play the video again. Okay, let's look at part 2. So that's over here, part 2 on page 54. First, let's read the words in the word box. Starting there, let's read all these words. The first one is cafe. The second one, houses. Then riding. Then shops. Supermarket. Town. Village. And walking. Now you see, these are all numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I will do the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 first. Number 1 is already there. It is village. So we can take village away. Okay, let's look at the next one. In the village, there is a small, that's number 2, a small something. Now let's look at the words. It could be more than one. So let's number 2, let number 2 pass first. Let's do number 3 first. There are 2, now look at the word houses. Are there 2 houses in the village? No, there are more than 2 houses, so it's not there. 2 shops, right, there are 2 shops. So number 3 is 2 shops. We can take shops away. So in the village there is a small, we don't know yet, there are 2 shops. People like their bikes there. Let's look at the words. Which one is the correct one? What do you do with the bike? Right, riding. So number 4 is riding. Okay, here number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. Let's continue. In the, there are a lot of, in the, so look at the picture. What is it? It's not a city, but it is a town, right? In the town, there are a lot of, now what kind of words do we have left? We only have one plural word, that is houses. So there are a lot of houses. And some shops. You can buy food at the, which one is that? Supermarket, right? So we write there, supermarket. You can buy food at the supermarket, number 7. And a lot of people are, now we have 2 words left, cafe and walking. So which one? Right, walking. Number 8 is walking. And then we know that number 2 is cafe. Okay, now we have all the words. Let's read it. In the village there is a small cafe. There are 2 shops. People like riding their bikes there. In the town there are a lot of houses and some shops. You can buy food at the supermarket. A lot of people are walking in the street. Okay, stop the video, finish filling in the words, and then play the video again. Okay, that's it for today. I will see you again tomorrow morning for our math class. See you tomorrow.